Hey. Wow, I was thinking this morning, why is it that I do that always in the morning when I haven't had my coffee yet and I'm not able to actually perform complete sentences very well? Why do I have to always have these? Anyway, I was thinking about, as long as I can remember, I have a pretty good memory. There have been spin-off television shows. Because there just has been. If a show is successful and it builds up, I just realized my camera's lopsided, so I have to do this there. Oh yeah. It is, it's there. See, there's where it needs to be. Okay. A TV show comes along, and it's popular, right? Okay, we're trying to fix the camera without actually. I have a tripod, but I'm just too lazy this morning. It's early in the morning to deal with. I am actually trying to slide something under the camera on one side. Hey, though, it kind of helps. All right. So why do we have spin-off TV shows? Oh, I know. It's okay. When a show is really popular, it's got the right chemistry. It develops a following. It develops people who want to watch it every week, and it's successful. It brings in money, and then but inevitably people get tired of it, or they run out of ideas, or they run out of money, or whatever it is, and the show dies. But they still want to get money, so they come up with other spin-off shows that might continue that following that the first show already has. The following is there. They're just looking for new ways to be entertained, and they've already done all this to build up this fan base. They want to do something with the fan base. I'm just trying to think of examples. Well, obviously Star Trek is like the biggest success story when it comes to that. The movie franchise and all the different spin-off TV series that came from the original Trek. Star Trek developed a fan base a loyal fan base like very few shows, and they wanted to do something with that fan base. I mean, these fans wrote the network begging them to put the show back on after it was canceled. Anyway, in the end, the fans got what they wanted, and they got a continuation of what they loved. That's it. That's the most obvious example of what I'm saying, but there's all kinds of stuff, that originally I think actually Dragnet, I don't know, this is stuff before me. I think there was Dragnet, and then Adam 12, and then from Adam 12 was Emergency, but I'm not sure if that's in. I know Adam 12 Emergency was a spin-off from Adam 12. Some of the same characters from Adam 12 are in Emergency. And there was a show called Sierra, which was a spin-off of Emergency. It was about a bunch of rangers in the Sierra Mountains. I personally really loved the show, but it didn't go anywhere. I don't even think it made it past the first season. And I'm trying to think what other shows. Oh, Battlestar Galactica. I'm not talking about the original, although the original did start it, just like with Star Trek. There was an original, and then there were these remakes, newer, fresher versions. Battlestar Galactica, they kick-started that with a new version of itself, and then we have, I'm trying to think of what the ones that came after Battlestar Galactica. I can't think of the names. It's too early in the morning, but there was one series that came right after it, and then, or that came from it, and now there's going to be another one So that's another example. But you know, they've already built up the fan base, and they want to continue to take advantage of that group of people, the people that have shown that they will watch it loyally and bring in the money. Anyway, thinking about this made me think of another example. Not so long ago, some guy who wanted to have... He was basically a con artist. He was a con artist who looked for ways to get money out of people. And, you know, he walked around, he had a seeing stone, and he had a hat, and he would look into his hat where the seeing stone was, and did things with it. Predicted the future, did whatever, did things to fool people into thinking that he had some kind of supernatural insights. And, you know, that I guess doing that allowed him to take money from people without really having to work. That would be my guess. I think that's how it is with most con artists. It's about getting money from people with as little effort as possible. and then one day, I think this guy figured out that he had he had a way, or maybe he looked into... See, I don't think he was the original one to do this. In fact, I know he wasn't. He looked into how past con artists did it, and he followed along. He followed the same recipe that had been successful before. And I'm trying to figure out how to say this right. He knew he had to bring a figure that was already established as something and had a fan base. He knew he needed to incorporate this figure into his con in order to entice some of that fan base to him, to follow what he wanted them to follow, his way. Kind of a spin-off of a TV show. He wanted to do a spin-off of a belief system. So he couldn't just say he looked into his hat and saw his seeing stone, and the seeing stone showed him things. He had to incorporate a character that was already being given the credit, or basically people already believed this character had authority from God. So he brings in, actually originally this con artist sees an angel, and the angel shows him golden tablets. But then from what I understand, his story changed because an angel didn't give him enough clout. So I believe the story goes, it starts out with one angel, and then it becomes more than one angel that he sees that gives him this message. And then the final version of his tale, it's Jesus himself in America who gives him this information. Jesus himself who gives him the authority. And then he can, because of this alleged authority that's been handed to him by Jesus Christ himself, he can tap into a religion that's already established, Christianity, and entice a fan base that's already there. Christians, he's already got a lot of the hard work done. He's got the Bible, which is the New Testament and the Old Testament, and all the stories and all the legends and all the laws. He's already got all that. That's basically the hardest stuff right there. And but that's what he has to found his what he wants to do on, and then he can add to that, and that's what he does. And it's eventually called the Book of Mormon. He adds to an existing gospel, an existing holy book, gets his authority from an already established, accepted authority figure, Jesus Christ, who is accepted as the mouthpiece of God, God on earth, whatever. And in the end, we have a spin-off of Christianity, and it's called Mormonism. It's a spin-off of Christianity, and it becomes very successful because he's already got, Joseph Smith has already got people half believing in what he wants them to believe. They believe up until a certain point. All he has to do is convince them that his authority comes, that he's basically the newest form of a religion that's already been accepted. Only his version is more modern, up to date, because it's information that well, it's you know, as I said, it's early in the morning. Coffee, need coffee. So that's what I'm thinking Mormonism is. It's a spin-off. It's a con artist using somebody else's con from earlier days to build upon, to make his own con, to entice people who are already enticable, who already have that kind of thinking and already buy into that kind of superstition, to build his own little following, to get the kind of control and power that he craves. It's the world's greatest con. I mean, look at how big the Mormon church is today. I'd say he was a very successful con artist. But what's funny is Christians can look at Joseph Smith and the whole story of how Mormonism comes together and scoff. And can't believe anybody would believe that stuff. You know, I can't believe anybody would believe that this guy actually had, you know, Jesus came to America and talked to this guy in New York. And Christians laugh at it, laugh at Mormonism and the ideas that Mormons believe. You know, the whole thing just, and when you think about it, it is really laughable, because there's very little about Mormonism that resembles Christianity. What, we're all gods? We're all going to be gods one day? Satan is Jesus's brother? Jesus was once a man just like we are, you know, men or women, people, humans, and and we will one day be like Jesus, and women will be populating, well, helping their male god, their spouse, in once on the highest level of heaven, to populate their own planets. Hello. It sounds ridiculous to Christians, but once upon a time there was a foundation, another founding religion that already had a fan base, already had a bunch of people accepting that it was true, that there was a God named Yahweh, and you know, and these con artists built upon that, took a bunch of legends and myths and laws supposedly inspired by a rather barbaric blood genocidal god, jealous genocidal god. They took something that was already in existence, that already had a following, and said, hey, you know, we can use this to give ourselves authority, to start out with basically a fan base with people who already almost believe what we want them to do, what we want them to believe. Now we just need to add to it. Well, what do we need to do? Well, you know, these people are all waiting for a Messiah, so it seems pretty easy. An easy next step is to come up with a Messiah, come up with the Savior that they're so desperately wanting. Only it's not exactly the way they want it, because that's not the kind of Savior that we want. So they come up with their own little whatever, and they base it on an existing religion, and it's a way for them to get what they want, the power and control that they want. They can make up their own rules that they want society to. We don't want women to be equal to men. You know, that's probably one of their highest agendas. You know, It's a patriarchal religion. That's what they found themselves on, another patriarchal religion. Same with Islam, which is the same thing. It comes later, but it's the same idea. Okay, we're going to build upon what already exists and what already has a fan base and is successful. And that way we have pretty much a guaranteed following. We just have to convince some of these people that are already pretty gullible and superstitious that we're correct, that we have insights from God that makes our version of what they think of as truth to be even more true. So that's how I think Mormonism came to be. In fact, I know that's how it came to be. Joseph Smith was a con artist. I don't think we really know the name of the con artists that started Christianity, but I believe it came about in almost exactly the same way. People looking to have power, people trying to figure out a way to do it the easy way. Fast track to power, fast track to having a following of people who think you have authority, that you can make up laws and say that they're from God and get control and run a community the way you want it to be run. So that's what I think. I think the spin-off mentality, before there was TV shows and radio shows, before there was all that, the spin-off mentality was alive and well in religion. And who knows, looking back at the Old Testament, a lot of those stories are not original either. In fact, probably most of the stories come from even earlier pagan religions. So I believe that the original Judaism and the original Old Testament is also a spin-off from even earlier religions. So is it all true? No, it's bullshit. It's one con artist building on the work of another con artist that came before. And I'm sorry, I can't pronounce words in the morning either. But I gotta get going. I just noticed the time. I have animals to feed and I gotta get to work. So these are my thoughts about spin-offs and what I think. How I think Christianity and Mormonism came to be, based on just how the rest of things come to be that I've observed in my life. So, God, I'm tired. If anything's come from this video, cool. That's good. Yeah, I ended that video really stupid, so I'm going to come up with a different ending. Because the first ending sucked, so. Anyway, I just want to say thanks for watching if you have. Bye.